Hey YouTube, in this episode we're going to slap on one of these Vgoohobby front bumpers, hoping to save this grill, maybe even possibly the headlights and stuff from one of the very early wrecks. I know they're still eventually going to get tore up, but we'll see how this thing goes. I'll try to put a screenshot in here. Oh, you can see what I paid for it. Alright, so we're going to dig in here. First thing we need to do is try to figure out where this is going to mount. Of course, it's going to go on the front horn of this frame. Looks like, now that I get down here where it needs to go, we're going to take these two screws out, and there's going to be a third screw to go here. Actually, third screw goes here in the back hole. So that'll put it on there like so, and then your body will be able to close right in it. So we're going to go do a short assembly, then we'll pop these 4 screws out. Alright, quick notice here. Start putting things together, trying to figure out where the hardware goes, because you get 0 instructions, by the way. But you've got 3, 6, 9. You got 9 of the short screws. You have 5 nuts, 5 long bolts. I was assuming the bolts would have went in here. I assume completely wrong, of course. Then you got your 3 tie together bars and your 2 plates, 1 for each side. They look like they're stainless. After looking at it, looks more like, I'll go through and do like so. I'm not going to tighten this all the way up yet. The reason I'm not, pretty simple. We're just going to want to take and leave all this loose till you get it fitted up. Because if you do much of this, you'll understand if you tighten the screws up on one side, you'll never get the screws in the other side hardly, or you'll cross thread them. It's just a disaster. That's the last thing I want to deal with this morning, is a disaster. I'm trying to knock this out fast so I can go get some oil and change oil in the car. And then get out of state. One thing to note is these are 2.0 millimeter screws you're taking out here. That's the head size. These screws here that we just put in, those take a 2.0 millimeter hex as well. So just all the same sized hardware, looks like, as far as heads go, which is great. Being said, let's start this one screw right back in the same hole then. And we keep everything lined up, and then we can swap it out if we want. Back around. Alright, that ought to make things a little easier. Let's grab our screw set here. Let's see what we have. So, that screw, that's a little too much. So, hold it in here where you can see. This is how I like to size screws up. I butt them up end to end, and then take and try to fit the piece of metal that you're putting in there. That's too long, so we need to drop down a couple millimeters. Let's try the next size down. We'll go on big 4 out, because I'm thinking that's the right size. You butt them up against each other. That's it. So you butt the ends and then stick your piece of metal in there, and it's pretty much identical. Those are the ones I'm going to put right back in the frame, right here in these 2 holes. Go into this plastic body mount. That way you have the same length screw that comes from the factory. You're not cramming just any old screw in there. That is a 16 millimeter. So our other screws are probably 14 millimeter. The only problem with my set is the heads on my set take a 2.5 millimeter hex. They're same thread and everything, just aggravating. There we go, that one bit. Let's do another one here. A bit. So that side's starting to look good. Get over and let you see what I'm doing. At least I think you can see what I'm doing. Just running it in. So it's going through the bracket, through the chassis, and then into this piece of plastic here, into this body mount boss. That's going to be what it threads into. I'm going to remove that other screw real quick that I'd run in. I went on and checked the length of the little short screws that it come with. They will go through and thread into the nut. So I went on and put one of those in the other side, just stuck it in. I haven't put the nut on it yet. Here's this side. These things don't just push through like they should, even though I left it loose, so I'm sure if you tighten that up, you're going to have a problem. See down here inside the chassis, right there's where your nut's going to go on each side. It looks like it'll clear steering servo. Well, I ought to show you all, because the suspension don't compress that much, so should work out to be pretty good. Once we get all the hardware on, it's still loose on the chassis. I'm going to tighten this up. That way the bar looks good. That just looking bad would be horrible. The whole reason we bought it, matter of fact, is to keep the truck looking good. Alright. So there's that. We'll get our 2.0 hex. Go on and run these in. Give them a slight amount of torque. I probably ain't turning them a 1/16 of a turn once they get tight. I'm trying to hold the actual metal bar in the middle so it don't twist. Spin the other side loose. Get it from the front, make sure it still looks pretty level. Well, honestly, it looks better than I figured it would, but those machined holes are pretty tight. Now all you gotta do is tighten up your 6 bolts right here in the sides of the frame. You'll be done. Get our handy dandy Traxxas lug tool here. Good for all kinds of things. They fit right in between the frame horns on these really well. I'm actually going to tighten the nut up with my hand on the inside when that gets tight, instead of tightening up the bolt head. That way you're not cranking on the threads of the bolt. There you go. There she is. Part of her mess left up here anyway. I'll put all these extra screws back in the case here and reuse them, of course. It's folded up if you're not going to run them. Try to keep them from getting broken off. But there it is. It's down, it's in the hole. There's what it looks like from the side. Got plenty of clearance. You could definitely not put one of these on a Kingsling or a Bog Hog without some kind of something making the body flip up from the other side, which I wish I could. I gotta say I like that better. Truck will almost balance there. I'm having to hold it up, but the truck will almost balance there in a stoppie. And note, it's not going to tear the front bumper off. It comes down ever so easily, so you could use that as a drag probably and back up and be doing a moonwalk. Be pretty nifty, guys. In order to take a pretty good hit. And honestly, with the chrome on the front of the truck, it really don't look that bad. Looks like something kind of back in the day would have been, but there it is.
This did make the body pins a lot harder to remove.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. See you on the next episode. Drill it.